But it really addresses some very simple in isolation exercises. You know, hip flexors, glutes, abductors, adductors. It really breaks it down to very simple programs. That's in isolation life. It's a foundation program. As far as going to more dynamic, you know, any of that light plyo stuff that I was doing here is great stuff. You know, I was so turned on at Florida, you know, when we started doing that, and that's when I first was introduced to the plyometrics. And Coach Webb threw me in with Mark Everett and a bunch of the 800-meter runners, which was fantastic because little did I know that it was going to help me in steeple. So I was doing workouts with Mark Everett and Aaron Baines, some of these other guys in the 800 meters. And I ran 149.1 in the 800 that year, and that's the year I won the steeplechase. You know, that pretty much sold it to me, and that's really when I started doing that stuff. Because, you know, when you talk about the recruitment of athletes and how we talked about 1,500 meter versus where they come from, think about it. It's 28 barriers and 7 world jumps. It takes leg power. Who has more leg power? 1,500 meter runners have more leg power. That's what it really is about. You can say 1,500, 800, all that. It's about having more leg power to sustain velocity through the race and not break down from the requirements of going over the barriers in the water jump.
Coach Bob Larson, you worked with marathoners and 10K guys, and your group is doing plyometrics, correct? And how often are you doing your bounding and plyometrics?
Certain times of the year we do 2 a week. I mean, even as I mentioned, back at Grossmont College and UCLA, but some people, I don't know if it would take, Tommy, would you agree more than 2 times per week? I'd be a little bit scared of doing any more. And,
no.
And the key was what you just said, light bounding.
Right.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
And, some athletes don't tolerate single leg bounding even very well. But everybody can do double leg bounds,
yeah.
And even for distance, and we found that to be very effective.
Yeah.
And then we're trying to extend that. It doesn't take very much because you get those muscles firing,
right.
And I think it's very effective.
Yeah.
One of the cool things that I really liked was the 2-leg bounding. Tom Tellez, Carl Lewis's coach, very rarely did single leg bounding. Why? He said too much a risk for the athlete's injury. So we wanted to go double support.
The only argument against that is as runners we're never on 2 legs. So you can just keep it light, and if you build a good foundation leading up to it, you know, with flexibility and strength, and you have all the muscles in the hip strong, maybe you're not going to compensate as much in the lower leg and in some other areas, you know.
You know, I got a comment on that.
Yep, go ahead.
I think, I've always felt skipping was excellent, especially for guys that you're afraid to put on a bounding program. But skipping, you can make it easy or you can make it fairly hard. You know, you can really get off the ground on a skip. And with a lot of athletes, it's just an easy way to get into a little bit of plyos. And I've never had anybody get injured doing skipping.
No.
And you're straightening that back leg, driving up. It's a great exercise.
You know, all those basic running drills, like basically plyos, high knees, the bounding, you know, all those kinds of things are just not very ballistic. Most runners should be able to do it, you know. But yeah, those are.
Tommy, Coach Sandoval's got a question.
Tom, I gotta say, this has been great, by the way. But I don't know if this is good or bad, but Coach Chaplin, John Chaplin, when I first got into coaching the steeplechase, one of the things he used to say was that if you can't run under 152, you go straight to the steeplechase. And I don't know how true that is, but
If you can't run under?
no, I'm saying if you can't go under 152, don't even mess with 1,500, go straight to the steeplechase. And it's kind of like Monopoly, you know,
Yeah.
don't stop at
Yeah.
go straight to jail. But anyway, he felt that there was enough agility and speed and strength. The high school cross country background, that 800 meter run ended up being a pretty good. He did a lot of steeplechasers there. Obviously, he had the Kenyans, but for the American steeplechase, I don't know how you feel about that, but maybe you can respond to that.
I'm sorry, what was the last piece? What?
That if you can't break 152,
Oh, well, no.
go
Yeah.
directly to the steeplechase.
Well, I think, you know, you're starting out with at least some type of leg power. You can run 153, 154, at least you're starting with some level of leg power. Now, can you make 3,000 meters? You know, you certainly have enough leg power to go over 28 barriers and 7 water jumps if you have some level of agility. If you ran 153 just on pure aerobic power and some, obviously anaerobic power, then maybe it's not going to work out for you. That's why I think it's kind of that's why I think that agility piece that I was talking about is really important. Like if you look at some of Brian Deegan's PRs, I mean, there just was nothing really that outstanding in there. The guy got a medal. It's a bronze medal. Yeah, I mean, sub 4 minute mile. But overall, he obviously had agility, which was leg power. And he was able to generate some good power.
How many steeple races do you recommend for a collegiate athlete during a season?
Well, I think depending on, a lot of things, I mean, like we were saying, I think 2 races to be ready. I mean, collegiate season starts outdoors most of the time in the March, maybe earliest, right? So if you run maybe one or two, let's say you run 2 in April, and you got the conference championships. If you're hoping to advance them and really move them along, it's probably five races, 5, 6 races in a year. I think that I forget, somebody had I remember somebody had a calculation. It was like you had 6 to 7 good ones a year. I don't know, Robert, is that, 6 to 7, really high quality ones a year is probably the most you can ask for. Obviously, beyond that, you can start breaking down, depending on how long your season is too.
Another one.
Okay.
Is there a close relationship between the 3,000 meter flat and the steeplechase?
As far as the time comparisons, well, there was a lot of talk about that. There was even some statistical analysis as far as efficient hurdlers or efficient steeplers who go over barriers, and how close they can get to their flat times. And I think it was it 19 seconds?
20 seconds.
20 seconds if you were very efficient over the hurdles. But if you really use that calculation, the world record's weak, right? Because I think Moses Kiptanui, and that's an example of maybe he wasn't a great hurdler, but Moses Kiptanui, I think he's 7:30, 3,000 meter runner. So it says he should run around
750.
749. If he's, when you're running faster, it seems to be a little bit more efficient to go over hurdles. So yeah. So it's. I think that's it, guys. Any more questions? All right, let's get you guys home.
What's your email? You had your email up, but Tony.
Oh, you know what?
Running it.
Maybe there is one more. There we go.
It's on your
Sorry.
handout, I think.
Yeah, it's up here too. I have it on there, and that's the award information. And I just put the speech school one up there. It's just kind of fun. It's a nice program we have for trying to give kids, teach them the fundamentals, in all these sports, and they're all learning how to do all these skills. And no one's taught them how to run. So I teach these kids how to run. In the meantime, try to recruit some of the youths into track and field. That's another one of my motivations is spot talent and recruit them into track and field because we have a tremendous amount of other youth programs in this country. I just look at Westchester where I live. We have a 2-day clinic in lacrosse and 220 kids show up between the ages of 7 and 10, and there isn't any cross-country programs or anything. It's not even available, so we gotta think about those things and try to recruit athletes, young athletes into the sport also. So we have to constantly thinking about ways to develop young athletes and get them to sport. There's no age that they shouldn't be running. If they're doing all these other sports, they should be running too. And like Steve Scott was saying, get that overall mileage up. They're on Nintendo, they're not out playing, they're not out running. We got to get them out running. We got to use sports, use track, use cross country to do that. Okay, guys, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Tom.
very much enjoy it. I would be remiss if I didn't open our introductions by saying this program is the brainchild and the passion of Dr. Harmon Brown. I think most of you know that Harmon passed away about a month ago. A memorial service will be held for Harmon in San Mateo on Saturday. And the USA Track and Field Convention and this program are the first sports science meetings with USA Track and Field ever without Dr. Brown. For those of us who have had the wonderful opportunity to serve USA Track and Field in the sports science, sports medicine programs, every one of us had our opportunity and door opened by Dr. Brown. And it was with his enthusiasm and encouragement and vision and passion and absolute commitment to you and to us that any of us have had the opportunities that we've enjoyed for so many years with this great sport and program. So I'm going to ask you to join me for a brief moment of silence in memory of